Please welcome Mandeep Bhatia, Senior Vice President, Global Digital Product and Omnichannel Innovation, Tapestry, and Purva Gupta, Co-founder and Chief Executive Officer, Lily AI, with Megan Hall, Business Reporter, Sourcing Journal.
All right, well, welcome back from lunch, everyone. Good to see everyone's still here, so thanks for that. So happy to have Mandeep and Purva with us today to talk about something that I think is one of the most interesting trends in retail today, which is artificial intelligence. So AI, as many of you probably know, has become one of the core tenets of many companies' roadmap when it comes to technology, both in the immediate near term and on the farther horizon. While generative AI seems to be sort of the flashy big thing today that companies are making news for, there's also lots of other systems that are running in the background that are helping drive business outcomes for companies all throughout the industry. So I'm thrilled to be joined by Mandeep and Purva, who are on the ground and doing the work with AI, and we'll chat a little bit about making sure AI's impact is meaningful rather than using tech for tech's sake, which is something that Doug talked a little bit about earlier this morning. So would love to dive right in. Mandeep, maybe from your perspective, it would be helpful to understand what's exciting to you about AI for retail today that you're seeing other companies use, and what is Tapestry putting into action?
Yeah. So first of all, how many here know about Tapestry? Does everybody know Tapestry? It's House of Brands, Coach, Kate Spade, and Stuart Weitzman. And so to begin with, we were just, Brian, that was a great presentation. You know, it's all about customer first and foremost. And, you know, as we were talking about customers having a lot of anxiety, when we look at AI, we first of all, it's like for two purposes: customer centricity and business growth, right? So if you're saying no to AI, it's like saying no to money, saying no, we don't like money. The way we look at it is we start all the way from, is this the right, are we designing the right bag for the customer? Are the customers going to like this bag or whatever fashion accessory we are designing right from the get-go? I've seen platforms which can do like market research, talk to the customers quickly using generative AI, come up with the product design, then put that in front of the customers, get the feedback, and then decide whether we want to even do the prototype or not, whether it will resonate with the customers or not. So all the way from product design and research, product research and design, to then procurement, sourcing, to then sales and marketing, acquisition, customer marketing, and then shopping experience, making it easy for them, and then the service, like post-purchase. So we look at retail from AI end-to-end in our life cycle, basically. And we're going to talk more about it as we get through this conversation.
Absolutely. Something you just mentioned is the experience economy, which we've heard a lot about going into this session, so I'm glad to hear that is also a trend with technology. Yeah. Purva, I know you're really doing the work to develop a lot of these AI systems that companies are using, and I would love to understand how you keep pace with the technology. What are you doing to keep track of it? What are you reading to watch after it? And how are you innovating in white spaces at Lily AI?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Megan. I'll first start with, as an AI company, I have 2 children. And as an AI company, I feel like my 3.5-year-old already knows what AI is. This is the new age that we're going to live in, where our children are going to grow up with AI. So while I'm amused at it, but also slightly still thinking about how that's going to pan out. But Mandeep, I'm going to use what you said. Like, if you're saying no to AI, you're saying no to money. That's going to be in our sales pitch now. Because at the end of the day, like, generative AI is new, but AI is not new. We've been doing this for decades, and Lily is 9 years old at this point, where we started with all of the computer vision, NLP, deep learning, all of those types of things. And generative AI is one more thing in the tool stack, but it's really a suite of AI applications that's solving problems. And to very quickly introduce Lily AI, we're in the business of helping brands and retailers speak the language of the consumer. So a quick example of that is, typically a merchant would describe a product as midnight French terry athleisure, but a consumer on the other side is most likely going to say navy blue hoodie, and they're not going to find it because it's not called that in the whole life cycle of that product. And so using AI, we are able to put all the language of the consumer on the entire product catalog and dynamically update that as that language of the consumer is changing. And so that's what we do at Lily AI. So now to answering your question, there is a lot going on in AI. Although it's technology, it's a means to solve a problem. But for me to actually keep up, of course, there's a lot of information to consume. But what I love to do is also go to a lot of small format dinners and small groups where there's a lot of conversation happening about the future of how they are going to be using. And at the end of the day, it's all about how do you make money from it. I think that's what I'm interested in, and that's what most people in the room will be interested in. And so those are the conversations that I actually cherish most. And then last piece of your question around what are we doing in the white spaces, innovating in the white spaces, I think, again, using the same mindset as a startup founder, how do you use AI to make more money for brands and retailers? One of the latest offerings of Lily AI is where we are optimizing Google ad spend for brands and retailers. Now you'll be like, yeah, there's been done so much. What is the new thing that you're doing? And the new thing that we're doing in that is the language of the consumer of what people are literally typing is changing. And we are able to take all of that dynamically and put that on the product catalog in the GMC feeds and further optimize the ad spend for the brands and retailers.
Absolutely. A lot of what you just mentioned is really exciting stuff. And I'm also glad that you brought up things that are not generative AI, so some of the more legacy AI systems that are running in the background, computer vision, predictive analytics, things like that, because to both of your points, it's about making money, and some of that is what is making money for brands today. Mandeep, maybe shifting a little bit. So I know that you at Tapestry are partnered with Lily AI. So I would love for you to walk me through how you selected Lily AI as a partner. Right now, I feel like everybody's becoming an AI company, or everybody is an AI company. So what did you look for, and how did this partnership come to be?
So I'll start with just a little bit of background. So first of all, like I said, if you solve a customer problem, it's cliche, right? You heard about how they have so much anxiety. We believe that fashion, and I believe you'll all agree with, if fashion brings joy, it brings confidence to them, right? When customer knows what they are looking for, they expect to find that exact thing. And if you cannot deliver that, then they are going to leave and go elsewhere. So the shopping experience, creating a great shopping experience is very important. Brian was talking about paradox of choice and control versus curation, right? So the problem that we had was a couple of things, right? So anybody who is looking for growth, right? Like you all know that there's a lot of money that is spent on Meta and Google, as basically indicated by their stock price. So it's constantly spending. So how do you basically acquire that traffic, right? So when customer is searching for that search term, how do you give them that relevant bag? And then when they are on there, or when they are doing their on-site search, how do you solve for that query, give them the right stuff? So for example, one of our super hit bags is Tabby, right? And we have Pillow Tabby. But the customer doesn't know Pillow Tabby. They see the bag and they're like, oh, puff bag. Oh, and then they go on Google and they search for puff bag, right? And I can guarantee you that your merchandising teams are not going to imagine every single term that comes up, and they are not going to add all of that data. You don't have that data. That data doesn't go to Google. Google is not going to surface puff bag or that Pillow Tabby when it comes to that, right? So that was the problem that we were solving for. And then these trends, they keep changing. So for example, now customers are searching for vegan bag or bag with feet. How many people are putting their data saying bag with feet, right? So that was a problem that we were solving for, to optimize both our SEO and Google search and our on-site search. So we essentially, the way we go about it is, and it's everybody says that they can solve We have also heard like one line of JavaScript code. If you hear that, like run away because that almost never happens, right? So we actually reached out to 3 or 4 solution providers, and we said, this is the problem that we need to solve. And then we actually gave that problem to all of them, saying, here is what we are trying to solve for, enrich the product data so that we can solve this problem. And then we did a pilot. It was a 90-day pilot. And then Lilly came out on the top. I mean, their offering was the best. So we went forward with Lilly. It solved both of those customer problems for us.
Absolutely. I think what you said about doing a pilot is both interesting and important because it really allows you to test out the technology with less risk than implementing it for millions of dollars at once. Purva, from your perspective, it's also important from a provider perspective to make sure that the brands that you're working with or the companies that you're working with are a match and it's something that you can solve. So when you're looking out at the audience today that's full of lots of amazing brands, I would love to get your take on what kind of questions these brands should be asking of potential third-party providers that they're looking to link with.
Absolutely. So I'll divide this into 2 parts. So one is basically questions internally that should be asked, right? So I'll go back to what Mandeep said, because this is my favorite piece of the whole puzzle, which is what problem are you trying to solve? Because and it's like AI is just one of the types of technologies that is going to help you solve that. But if you focus and obsess on the problem and have a viewpoint on what do you want to do with it, what's the problem, what's really broken, that's really, really important in helping you understand what kind of a solution you want that'll actually solve that problem. Because you can get lost in the sea of AI today. Everybody and their mom is an AI company because everything, all the different pieces of systems that come together to make a company are optimized on AI today. So who's not an AI company, right? And so number 1, internally, a really good understanding of what's the problem. Number 2, data readiness. You all know this, AI needs good, clean data. So at the end of the day, your own data also is a big factor. And at Lilly, we work with players with all sorts of data. But again, like there is a readiness check that brands need to start having because there is going to be a lot more and more of these types of things that are going to happen in the future. So that's internal. External, definitely AI expertise, right? And again, it's hard to evaluate vendors on AI expertise, but if you focus on the core questions to understand what's the underlying data they are using, what's the accuracy of, again, depending on the problem, where accuracy is more important than not, but those are very basic questions, and there need to be really solid answers for those types of things that I think most people will be able to understand. And then the second thing, I think, especially in this room, from a fashion perspective, this specific category in retail is very different from a lot of other categories because of the whole paradox of choice and also preferences playing a huge role in this category versus others. And so domain expertise is also really important. And so looking at ensuring that the vendors and partners have understanding of their business, or especially the category, I think is another important thing that can make everything run faster.
Absolutely. I know at Lilly AI, one of the problems that you guys look to solve is making products more accessible to the consumer. I would love to know a little bit about how you avoid that becoming creepy. We saw in the last presentation that there is a sort of cognitive dissonance among consumers today, whether it's because of overwhelming choice or too much technology. So how does that work, and how do you make sure that the consumer feels comfortable and also well served?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll answer that through a simple example. This year, the industry decided it's all about wide leg pants. And so yes, lots of wide leg pants. But consumers on TikTok decided it's tight jeans. And I'm sure you guys may have seen that whole trend of 200 million plus, hashtags of tight jeans. And everybody is like, okay, let's get tight jeans. And so at the end of the day, what we at Lilly are doing, everything that we're doing is about what the consumer cares about. And we are taking that data and helping brands and retailers act really fast on that trend curve, right? And make sure that when, if you are calling tight jeans something else internally, but at the end of the day, if the consumer is calling that, you need to say that. And that needs to go in your entire catalog, that needs to go into every destination system that has your your data, so all of those things, right? So we are consciously making a decision as an AI company that for us, it's all about what the consumer already cares about and they've already put out there, that we are enabling the brands and retailers to serve and help them offer that experience. So that's what we do as a company. Yeah.
Definitely. I like the focus on trends rather than sort of digging too deep into a consumer's own identity. I think that's interesting. So I know that there's still a lot to be discovered about artificial intelligence over the next couple of years, and there's lots of use cases for retail and for apparel and for sourcing, whether it's matching with a factory or demand forecasting or customer experience. But I would actually like to take a look back. So what has happened with AI over the past couple of years in retail that you think has changed the industry for good? And maybe Mandeep, we can start with you.
So I think especially after I'll go back to, brand's, presentation because one, it was a really good presentation. Two, it talks about this problem of, again, control versus curation, right? Like if it's too much personalized, it's creepy, right? So you need to make sure that, so let's just talk about shopping experience. It's not that AI is new. It has been there forever. Like you have seen product recommendations forever on all of the sites. The personalization on Amazon or a whole bunch of other sites, it's all there. What has happened in just the last 2 years is the technology has gotten so good now, and where it's going. I don't know how many of us, when we now search, right? I almost exclusively just do long form searches. Like I'm not searching for a keyword, I'm searching for full sentences, right? Which bag will go for a work party or something like that, right? So with this new technology, what we have to look at is what we have, is it still suitable, or now it's almost like you have to do a champion challenge. Does it still meet consumer needs as we want it? Does it still create and present those curated experience, or is it just paradox of choice, right? I'll give you another example. You go to a site, and including our site, and you'll see a listing page, right? Is that how customers are going to shop in future? No, it's all agent behavior, right? Today's kids, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he has 2 kids, 13 years and 10 years old, and these kids are just happy talking to the AI chatbot, and they ask the chatbots all kinds of questions, basically, right? So that's going to be the behavior going forward. So we all better basically understand how to ask the right questions and prompt engineering and all of that kind of stuff. So that's how people are going to shop in future. They're going to come to the site and they're going to expect the personalized concierge, someone who is very good, who can bring that store experience at scale. So we are picking some of those areas, and we are trying to pilot and see, like, test that technology in those spaces. So it's in a nutshell, looking at what we have, looking at where the technology has gone in the last 1 to 2 years, where it's going, and then saying, are we still going to be, our experience going to be relevant 2 to 3 years from now? And that's primarily what we are looking at.
For sure. I think it's really interesting to hear you say that today, the AI systems that have already started to exist have set a really good baseline for consumer comfortability and sort of preempted the future of what might be expected. Purva, from you, would love to hear a look back, what has been impactful for you over the past couple of years that has changed the industry for good.
I know we're short on time, so I'm going to keep it short to only 2 things. One, I think the pace at which innovation is going to happen, that's changed for good. There is, like, what took a decade is not going to take a decade in the future. And especially because with AI, you can expect exponential results, really, really fast pace, and a lot of efficiency. So for that reason, that has changed for the future, and I'm sure nobody in this room disagrees with me. So that's one. Number 2, I'm going to speak from the other side of my mouth, a little bit a contrary view, but I'll leave us with that. I think measurement with AI is also going to get really complicated. because it's going to be very difficult in this new future to really, split hairs on which thing got you what kind of lift, and it's going to get hard because this is like really, really sophisticated way of really saying which system got you that lift versus others. It's not going to be that easy to measure, so there's a lot more challenges also we are foreseeing that is going to come in that space of measuring, very cleanly measuring what we've done before is going to get harder.
Like the both of you, I'm excited to see what comes next. Thank you so much for the great conversation. I really appreciate the insights.
Thank you.